Hi there, I'm Professor Plague, and we're going to discuss how we can make Pokemon better. In this series, I'm going to teach you why some Pokemon aren't very good, what makes them unique, and how we can highlight those key features to make them better in the future. But before we begin, we need to lay down some ground rules. First, the Pokemon must not be very good competitively. Second, the Pokemon must not already have a Mega Evolution, Regional Variant, or Gigantamax form. And lastly, the Pokemon must not be inherently gimmicky. Today, we're looking at the beak Pokemon, Fearow. Let's begin by looking at its Pokedex entries. Pokedex states that Fearow is recognized by its long neck and elongated beak. They are conveniently shaped for catching prey in soil or water. It deftly moves its long and skinny beak to pluck prey. It shoots itself suddenly high into the sky, then plummets down in one fell swoop to strike its prey. It's tough and has excellent stamina. It has no problem flying continuously for a whole day carrying a heavy load. So based on its Pokedex entries, we can see that this Pokemon uses its long beak to strike prey and has a lot of stamina. Looking at its type, Fearow is a normal, flying type Pokemon. This is the most common dual type and the 8th most common type overall. Flying resists normal's only weakness of fighting, leaving weaknesses to ice, electric, and rock. Normal flying Pokemon have resistance against bug and grass, as well as immunities to ground and ghost, so it's not a terrible typing. However, if you consider that there are 10 other final stage normal flying type Pokemon, they can't all be stars. Next, let's move on to its abilities. Fearow's baseline ability is Keen Eye, which prevents accuracy loss. And as you can guess, this isn't very useful. Its hidden ability is Sniper, which multiplies critical hit damage by 1.5, meaning your crits will deal 2.25 times the damage instead of 1.5. While this is a great ability when it works, it usually requires your moveset and an item to revolve around it to work. Fearow is interestingly the only Pokemon with Sniper that isn't a water type or a bug poison type. This certainly makes Fearow a bit more unique. Now, let's move on to Fearow's stat distribution. If we consider that mythical Pokemon have 100 points in each of their base stats, we can assume that anything greater than 100 is a great stat. So 90 to 100 is a good stat, 80 to 90 is decent, 70 to 80 is okay, 60 to 70 is poor, and anything below 60 is just bad. So as we can see, its stats are not very good. Its base stat total is 442, which is incredibly low compared to the average overused Pokemon of 545. Its defensive stats as well as its special attack are unpromising, while its attack and speed are actually quite good, sharing both of those stats with Zapdos. Unfortunately, those stats alone are not enough to save the Pokemon with its current move pool. Speaking of moves, let's go over the typical Fearow moveset. When it comes to the base power of moves, we can use the same scale we used for stats. First, we have Drill Peck, which is an 80 base power physical flying type move, so it will get the same type attack bonus multiplier of 1.5. While this move isn't bad, it has no added effects and is completely outclassed by Brave Bird, which is a 120 base power physical flying type move that every other normal flying Pokemon has access to, with the exception of Noctowl and Chatot. For its other stab move, Fearow uses Return or Frustration, which is a 102 base power physical normal type attack with no drawbacks. This is actually a great move, but it was removed after Gen 7. Drill Run is an 80 base power physical ground type move that has a higher critical hit ratio. This is a great move because it's super effective against the types that resist flying, which are electric, rock, and steel. Lastly, U-Turn is a 70 base power physical bug type move that immediately switches the user out after it is used. This move deals an okay amount of damage and provides pivot utility, allowing it to switch in and out to turn the tables on an opponent. Now that we've done an overview of Fearow, we can talk about what changes we may want to see in the future. While I think its Sniper ability and normal flying type are a bit unpromising upon first glance, we can certainly make up for these by giving Fearow stats that will push it to a higher tier, as well as access to moves that better suit its current kit. Therefore, if we were to make Fearow better, it would need an evolution of some sort, which I will from now on refer to as Shearow. First, let's rework its stats. Like we mentioned before, Shearow needs over 100 stat points to come close to the average overused Pokemon, but I think it will need around 73 points to see major improvement. This way, Shearow can sit below the average starter final evolution of 530 and cross-generational evolution of 525 and still be a much better Pokemon. As for what stats will be boosted, it should receive a decent boost to its defenses as well as a slight upgrade in its offensive stats. This will improve its survivability as well as reflect the Pokedex entry that praises Fearow's toughness and stamina. This new spread will allow Shearow to be played as a bulky sweeper as well as maintain its old role as a pivot. Because we want to keep Shearow as a normal flying type Pokemon with Sniper, this will become the core of its kit. This means if we want to exploit having a high critical hit multiplier, we want to have as many critical hits as possible. One example we can follow is Kingdra, who uses Focus Energy to raise its critical hit ratio by 2, and carries the item Scope Lens to raise its critical hit ratio by 1 to guarantee critical strikes. Another example is Drapion, who uses the item Razor Claw to raise its critical hit ratio by 1, and carries several moves like Cross Poison, Slash, and Night Slash that have increased critical hit ratios of 1, granting critical hits 50% of the time. Therefore, we should model Shearow after both of these kits for it to score critical hits. Fearow already has access to Focus Energy in Drill Run, which would guarantee critical hits for one move, but it would be missing stab moves for its flying and normal types. An easy solution would be to give Shearow access to Slash, which would make up for it losing Return and Frustration, and also give it another move with an increased critical hit ratio. As for its flying type move, Fearow already has access to Air Cutter, but it's a special move as opposed to a physical move, which is what Shearow actually needs. So I suggest we rework Drill Peck to have an increased critical hit ratio. To balance this, we can lower its base power to match other high crit ratio moves like Slash or Night Slash, or lower its accuracy to be more like Drill Run. Regardless, this change would make Drill Peck a much more viable option than Brave Bird, even if Shearow had access to it. Lastly, I love coming up with signature moves for Pokemon despite how broken they can be. So for Shearow, I would love for it to have a move called Drill Dance. This would be a flying type status move that would raise the user's critical hit ratio by 1 stage and its speed by 1 stage. This would give Shearow a much needed boost in speed and the potential to carry a more defensive item. I've used Pokemon Showdown to showcase what something like Shearow would look like. So, what do you think? What else would make Fearow better? Do you have any ideas for regional variants or moves for Fearow? Let me know in the comments below, and please like and subscribe for more.